It is February 22nd, 2023, and I am so honored to have this discussion with you. So welcome, first of all.
Thanks so much. It's great to be here.
Yeah, I always look forward to these calls because it's everybody's journey is so different in Atlas and what you get from it. And I just wanted to share this to our group, to everyone to listen to this, and even in the recording. But I just want to kind of get right into this. And for anyone listening to this, these are open discussions where we're going to just dive into everything. So who knows where this is going to go? But I just want to get your insight on everything about your journey, if we can do that. So
Sure.
Are you open to be an open book today?
Absolutely. Let's go for it.
So tell us who you are in a little short, like what do you do? Who are you? What is your niche, your audience, your dream clients? Just so everybody gets that first.
Okay, so I'm a clinical hypnotherapist and I work with singers. And the reason I work with singers is because I've spent over 30 years in the music industry as a classical singer, opera singer, opera and oratorio, voice teacher, choral conductor, all things musical, really. And there's always a space for performance coaching there. Singers, we don't get enough work. We get lots and lots of work on vocal technique and not enough on mindset. And I wanted to do more with that. So I've been teaching one-to-one a lot. And in 2020, when it was COVID, we came online one-to-one, small groups. And I wanted to get the message out to more people. So that's sort of how I ended up in this online group building business.
Oh, wow. Okay. So so you're new to this online world then?
Yeah.
Okay. And so when it comes to where you were in your business, I'm just going to just jump right into this because you just sparked a question for me. So how was your business before we started working together? Like, was it already was it like, how was it? Like, explain the situation before we started working together, and how did you feel in that situation? And maybe it has to do with the whole pandemic thing. So I'll leave that to you. Like, how was it?
Yeah. So what happened was none of my teaching was online before the pandemic. I never did any teaching online at all. It was always one-to-one, and my work with singers, the hypnotherapy work with singers, always one-to-one. But then what happened was we had to go online, and so when we first met, what had happened was I knew I wanted to set up a business doing hypnotherapy online for lots of singers to get out to as many singers as possible. There are very, very few people in my space doing what I do. So I wanted to get out there. And I'd had some, I'd been to a business coach and learned some nuts and bolts. So I'd learned how to use Instagram a bit, and how to use Canva, which was really useful, and things like that. But the marketing element was really it really didn't align with me. It felt false. It felt trying to sell to people is not what I'm about, and it's not what I wanted to do. I want to help people, and so fortunately, I lucked upon meeting you.
Thank you. So how did that make you feel by being in that zone of trying to sell people, like with the marketing? Because that's a big thing I hear from a lot of people.
Yeah. No, it was just awful, because I felt like I know that what I have, the product that I have, transforms and changes lives. I know that from the people that I work with. And I know that I want to get it out to more people. And yet it looked to me, because I knew nothing about business as such, it looked to me like the only way to do it was with this horrible, TikTok, 10 seconds time bonuses and all these false words that didn't sound like they were coming out of my mouth, but just looked like, every sort of secondhand car sales people stuff. It just didn't fit with me at all, but I didn't know there was another way. And so, when I first met you, and we first met on the Dream Clients workshop, it was just like, hallelujah, there is another way. I can be me and still do this. And that's the biggest thing for me.
That's amazing. We're going to jump into some details here, but I just want to jump to the end kind of thing, which was like, how do you feel now about the marketing and all that?
What I love is that I am never in a position where I'm thinking, sell, convert. When I'm meeting people and I'm talking to them for the first time, I'm thinking about how I can help them with what I have. And I'm not thinking about how do I get them to sign up? How do I get them to be on my course? And that was, it just didn't align with me at all. Obviously, I want to earn a living doing this, but what's more important is going out there and helping people and giving people the tools that I have.
100%. I totally agree with you. And that's where the shift came for me many, many years ago. But I was in that very pushy, aggressive type of marketing because I like to test everything. I want to be the guinea pig and, put it out and say, this works and this doesn't work. This is what aligns with me and whatever. And I just felt a huge monkey off my back when I just said, this is not about me. You're absolutely right. Anyone listening to this just because we're not focused on conversions, like, let me get on a call, let me make sure this person buys today, right now. We still need to have a healthy business because we can't serve the world the way we want to without a healthy business. But at the same time, when we're pressured and feel icky about getting on a call and trying to convert somebody just because we need to survive in the business and all that, that's a whole other, that's a feeling I don't want to have, or I don't have it anymore. And I didn't want to have it. And that's what I'm trying to give to everyone. And obviously now you know what I'm feeling, how that feels. Yeah. Mm-hmm. And for anyone listening to this is what I'm trying to transfer to you, is to get out of that zone and just step into a conversation and invitation to people. Would you agree with this, Julie, that it's just about that and saying, whenever you're ready, it's all good. I'm here to help you. And they can truly feel the energy, even though we're on a digital platform now, they can feel the energy that we truly do care about them.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. What you say that always resonates with me is that it's about relationships. And I love that. I love the fact that when I'm talking to someone for the first time, what I'm doing is I'm making a connection and building a relationship. And I'm not seeing this person as, will I get a sale here? And it really is, therefore, I really feel like I'm doing the work that I'm meant to do. My mission is being, completed, because it's not just thinking about the sale the whole time. So that's what I love.
That. I love that. I hope that everyone listening to this really heard what you said. And I can even feel your passion and energy through what you just said. So it totally makes me smile from the inside out. So let's go to the business for a second. When or what specifically made you realize that you needed to make a shift in your business for it to grow? Was there anything that pops into your head?
Yeah, I just felt completely stuck. So I knew I had my products. I knew what I wanted. I knew what I wanted to be giving to people. I had the skills, I had the qualifications, but I didn't know how to get any further with it. I was lots of people were interested who I know, but not people who I didn't know. And I didn't seem to be able to connect with them. And actually I feel a lot of that was due to the fact that whenever they saw any posts that I'd put up, those posts looked like I'm just somebody else trying to sell them something, because that was the way that I was going, that I felt that I was being driven. Right. That was the only way that I knew, because I didn't know any other way.
Wow. And that kind of leads me to the next question. You kind of answered it, but I want to ask you different ways here. So, because I know you have so much to share, and because this is all about helping someone understand what the difference of the Atlas process is, because there's so many coaching programs and promises out there. So this is kind of promotion, I guess, for Atlas a little bit, but what was the problem that you were facing before you joined Atlas?
I felt a real disconnect between how I wanted to serve the world and how I was able to serve the world because of the marketing that I thought I had to do, because that's what I saw everybody else doing in the online space. And I thought that that's what I would have to do in order to build a business. But I knew that it was wrong. I knew in my heart, I knew that it was wrong.
Yeah, because my next question was going to be like, what were you thinking about that disconnection? So you're feeling as though there was this major disconnect in your heart. Kind of sounds like, when I talk about my heart and my head were fighting with each other. And it's like, this is what people are telling me to do. And I see this out here, but my heart's saying that's just not right. Does that align with you at all? Like, what did you think about that disconnection before Atlas?
Yeah. I mean, it's very much like that. It also, actually worse than that was that I was also thinking, I don't know how to manage it. So lots of people seem to, from what I'd seen other people were doing in the space, going out and hiring VAs to do all the bits that they didn't like doing. So I was thinking, well, so do I do that? Do I get someone else to do the dirty work? Feeling this sort of little bit slightly soiled with the marketing, and then I thought, well, actually, so therefore, maybe this space isn't right for me. Maybe one-to-one is where I should be staying, because I don't want to do that stuff. I don't want to mislead people. I don't want to tell people that there's only 10 minutes left or they won't be able to work with me when that's not true, all of that stuff.
Right. And so you just mentioned like one-on-one, because I know that there's people watching this or that are in my world who believe that the one-on-one might be a better way to go for whatever reasons. I was in the one-on-one as well. Can you speak to that a little bit? Like why you decided or agree that the group format in the way that we do it is a better way to do it?
Yes. So one-on-one is great, and sometimes it's really helpful for someone to have a one-on-one. And I'm not saying, I mean, I do a few one-on-ones, but the group, the thing about the group, the thing that you say in Atlas, people come for the tools, but they stay for the community. And that's the thing, I look forward so much to coming to Atlas, because then I'm going to see my friends and they're going to support me. And I had a bit of a scary time a couple of weeks ago, and I mentioned it to the group, and I got so much support, real genuine support, not just oh, sorry, hun, that kind, but real genuine support and help from other people in the group. And it's just a beautiful place to be.
Wow, that is so epic. I remember that call, and even I think you posted afterwards, and again, it's great for me to hear, because it's like, hey, this is my child almost that I'm bringing up in the Atlas world and all these things. Yeah. But it's more important and makes my heart smile when people are bonded and connected and really truly care about each other in the group as we're growing the business. So, and I think that is one of the main components for anyone listening to pull out of this conversation, is that when you work with dream clients and curate them and create a group community that you truly protect, that's the real big part of it. The money's great, and leveraging your time with more people, so you don't, one-on-one, you can only do so much and you burn out. I mean, like you said, there's room for one-on-one, but there's a lot more behind the scenes, or that's really not talked about, like below the surface. You can see the tip of the iceberg, but you don't know below the surface, which is everything you just said. That people that they just want to come to the community because they made friends, they bond with each other and feel supported. And that also goes to the point, would you agree with this, that we've heard in online programs where people don't even get past module number 2. And in our thing, we have a 12-week cohort that people are just dying to get to every single week. And if they can't make it, they're like, oh, I'm so sorry, I have to miss this one. I'm going to miss everybody. That's like a completely different vibe. Would you agree?
Yeah, and actually, it's not just the 12 weeks, is it? It's also what is amazing about Atlas is that once you've done it once, you can come back and do it again, which has been great for me. Particularly, there's so much content, there's so much information, and I'm very new to business. I'm not new to coaching. I'm not new to hypnotherapy, but I'm very new to business. And so all of this stuff flying at you, it's just a great thought that I know that if I don't get it this time, it's okay, because I'll catch it next time round, which is it's such a wonderful offer to have that, Joey. It's so brilliant knowing that you can come back and have another go on the bits, on all of it, but you can come back.
Thank you for that. Yeah. And by the way, I want to highlight that you don't pay to come back. Like you pay one time and you never pay again to come back. Yeah. So yeah, I want to highlight that. That's very, very good. Let's move to the other side, because there's always the pros and cons, or, the other stuff that I guess interviewers don't want to talk about. And I want to talk about everything. So what were you worried about when you were going to invest in Atlas, and when you're looking at it? What worried you?
Well, what worried me the most was, because I'm so new in business, what really worried me was, actually, do I not have a business at all? Is the reason why my business isn't growing because I don't really have a business that anybody wants? So that was the first thing. Mm-hmm. But going through the first few weeks of Atlas and going through the dream client and the crisis and the oasis and all of that stuff just made absolutely rock solid that, do you know what, there definitely is room for this work that I'm doing. People do want this work that I'm doing. So that was very reassuring. Yeah.
Were you worried about anything along the offer, or me, or getting into another coach because the other coach really didn't serve you? Was there anything there on the worriedness of like just the actual investment? Am I doing the right thing? Do I trust this person? Like anything along those lines?
So there was absolutely no, for me, there was no issue of trust, because we'd done I see your passion as well. You see my passion, but I see yours, and I see how genuine you are, and we'd done the workshop together, and we'd had a call together as well, and I felt completely excited and really hopeful that Atlas was able to do what you said, it could do, the things that you'd said. There is always this thought, isn't there, when you make a major investment? Yeah. Is it going to be, is it going to be worth it to me? Am I spending money that my family could use differently? That all of that kind of thing. 100%. So yeah, there were those concerns there. They were there, but absolutely not about you at all. No.
Very cool. By the way, I wasn't fishing for a compliment there, but but I appreciate it. So now you've made my day, so thank you. So you just talked about like something like, where is this investment going to give me the return that I'm looking for, or whatever? Let's talk about your results for a second. Like, why are we here? Like, what did you get out of this round of Atlas? Tell us more about that.
Okay, so well, from a financial point of view, I have a cohort running at the moment which has 5 people in it, which is sort of what I wanted. I was asking for between 5 and 7. There was one more who we might talk about, but yeah, I've got 5 there, so I have covered my investment costs. More than I've got back more than my investment on this first cohort.
That is amazing. Congratulations. And that's what I want everyone to hear, because so many promises are out there, programs that are trying to build the big thing and make X amount of dollars, and that's fantastic. But there's so much disappointment in there, and I like to be real. Like let's the first milestone for me is let's just get your money back. Let's
Yeah.
invest this. Let's learn something together. Let me get you your money back, so you're in for free, because you just said it 2 minutes ago that I can come back as many times as I want to now try and make more money. Sometimes we hit it out of the park. You know, some people do it right away and they 5x their investment or whatever, which is the promise of Atlas. And I work with everybody until they at least get 5x of their investment. But I also want people to hear that it's still okay to just, you know, get just your money back and be in this for zero right now and still have the support of the community, myself, and all that. Would you agree?
Yeah, absolutely. And it's, I think it, for me, it's also important to say that getting the money back in the end is absolutely not the main thing at all.
Right.
What has been great is that I've learned that I can work in my zone of genius, in my way, being completely aligned with my values, and just have a great time doing it and get my money back. Yeah.
Right. That is so important too. I want to jump back to the person you were speaking about in 1 second, but since we're on the topic of like getting your money back and what you really wanted and all this, and I love your attitude, I love your mindset. This is so important for people to hear, because would you agree with this statement that pretty much everybody in our group is like us? Like they think the same way as we do. There's not one person or two people in there who said, I don't care about any of this. I just want to make a whole bunch of money. And that's it. Like the whole group is aligned with this mentality. Would you agree with that statement?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, that's why it's such a joy to get together each week, because you know that everybody is out there wanting to go and on their mission, you know, doing their prefluence and really sort of changing the world. And you want to hear what other people are up to and what they've done and how they're getting on. And it's just, yeah, the vibe is great, as you say.
Okay, so I'm going to jump back to their question. I was going to ask a first question before the person that you were talking about, but since we're on the community level and what we just said, tell us more about the person that you didn't get into the cohort and why.
Okay, so well, basically this person, I thought I'd done really well curating a group similar to the Atlas people, you know, people who were going to support and empower each other. And yeah, and I suppose that's because I don't know, I'm in two minds about it, you know, because I suppose I did have an inkling, but what I did was when she was sending me things, I did, as you always say, you know, put more obstacles in the way, because if it's a dream client, they'll do anything to work with you.
Right.
And I just kept giving her more and more. Well, okay, so can you answer these questions for me? And what about this? And what about that? And she answered, and she said all the right things. She said all the right things. And then the moment that she'd made her investment, then suddenly nothing was good enough. And she was very disruptive. So the first week that we had in the cohort, she was very disruptive. She was dismissing other people's comments in the group.
Oh, okay.
And no tech worked for her. You know, none of the links worked. The platform wasn't good enough. Well, you know, it's Kajabi. The platform wasn't good enough for her. The videos that I'd sent to her were only photographs, and you know, nothing was right. But worse of all was that I could see the rest of the cohort sort of visibly getting dimmer. They were moving away. They were not connecting. They were shutting themselves off. And so I knew that I had to make a change. And thank goodness for the refund policy. So, you know, straight away afterwards, I sent her an email immediately, like within 5 minutes afterwards, and said, clearly this is not working for you. I'm going to give you all your money back. And I'm sorry it didn't work out for you. And I wish you every success. And did that. And she the only thing that I heard after that was she sent me a message saying, I've received it, thank you. So
Amazing.
yay. But everybody else in the cohort, I then sent them all an email talking about equilibrium and building this supportive, safe place where they could be themselves. Everyone else in the cohort sent me an email saying, thank goodness for that, you know, and I was their hero then. So that's
Amazing.
great.
That's a great story. And, you know, this is so important because we're talking about maybe into a little bit of the weeds of what we do in Atlas in terms of the building the groups. They're not like these massive groups of 50, 100 people where you can't be engaged and see, like you just said, which is so important, that you felt the energy, or you saw people pull back and these things. And that's the importance of having these small cohorts, which is super, super critical. And again, it's not that we are judging humans or anything else. It's just that they don't align with where we're trying to build with our values and things. And sometimes we get it wrong. I've got it wrong a few times myself. And it's not that they're bad humans. It's just like, this just is not this doesn't align with what you're looking for or whatever. And here's all your money back. And I'm glad that you also buy into that mindset of like, this is, you know, I'm not going to hold back because there's a loophole to get your money back or whatever. That's really awesome. But I think that there's really one thing I want to point out here, which is that you're protecting the tribe already. Like you're already protecting the 5 people or 4, whatever it is, so that they are happy, so that they feel comfortable, so that you can do your best work. Because when there's when there's a disruption in the group, your energy and focus, no matter how hard we try to avoid it, we're distracted. We're looking at that person or those 2 people and ignoring the rest of the group who's more aligned with us. And that to me is not where a dream client is. And it has nothing to do with just because we got paid to be in the cohort. It's like, I'd rather you just give your money back and bring people in that are aligned. Right. And curation is the big word, what you said. What did you feel about Atlas when you completed it the first time around?
So Atlas is, it's not, because it's not linear, you know, I know that it can be a struggle at times because sometimes
just lay it on me.
Well, you know, you're doing work and you're thinking, okay, all right, I'm going to do this. And my thought process was always, look, I'm just going to trust the process and see where it takes me. But there were times when because it's not linear, you know, and because I hadn't completed it, and because I don't know very much about business, you know, myself, that I was like, I don't know, I don't quite know what's going on here, what's going on, but I'm going to do it.
Where are we going with this?
And then what the great bit was for me was where it all just sort of clicked in. So I think of it like a jigsaw, you know, there's all these pieces around, but you don't quite know what the picture is yet. and then when we did the invitation blueprint, suddenly I was like, oh yay, click, 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 click. And it was like, oh, genius. And those were exactly my thoughts. I just said, oh, genius, I have it now. So this marketing malarkey, this sales page thing that I'd hated so much, suddenly turned into this beautiful document that said everything that I wanted to say, that I could send out to people and say, come and join me on my really precious thing that I'm building. So yeah, that was that.
I love this. This is one of my favorite questions to ask because it just brings up different aha moments for everyone. So let's talk about those. Like, what were 2 or 3 more of your aha breakthroughs as we were working together? And I know you had many of them, but can you pick out a couple that were just as epic as that one you just said?
Well, the number one thing that stands out for me is serve not sell. And it is like my mantra, and I know it's your mantra as well, but it's my mantra too.
Steal it away.
Serve not sell, because it just says, it says everything, doesn't it? And prefluence is like just amazing. You know, go out and do good in the world. And the other thing was, how do you find dream clients? You don't, they find you. Yes.
It's true, right?
Yeah.
It's true. And like,
Yeah.
so the part about the dream client and they find you, can we speak to that a little bit? Because someone listening to this might just think, okay, well, that's just another, marketing gimmick or another way of saying something. But like, what's the hardest part? I know what I'm thinking. I just want to know what you're thinking. What's the hardest part about that mindset that they will find you? Anything comes to
Yeah.
mind?
The hardest part is thinking there's nobody there. Thinking, will they find me? Is there anybody watching? But then I have had a number of, only like on Sunday, I was doing a workshop on Sunday, and with completely different group of people on vocal technique, not anything to do with what I'm teaching. And somebody there came up to me and said, "Oh, I love your videos. When can we sit down and talk about your hypnotherapy work?"
Wow.
That was like, whoa, okay.
Wow.
I didn't even know, so, and someone else who I had a session with from somewhere else, a one-to-one session, and she came on the screen and said, "Do you know what? It's great to see. Oh, it's great to see. It was like I was a celebrity or something. It's really great to talk to you. I've just seen all your videos. I don't, to see you in real life is so exciting." So yeah. So then it's working.
Yeah, and I think that you hit the nail on the head, which is is there anyone out there? Because we can't see the invisible client. That's the point I'm trying to get across. That's what sucks. Is like, yeah, Prefluence, I get it all. I'm doing all this thing, but show me the money, show me the thing, right? And it's not there sometimes, and you just have to just continue to do it, believing that there are these invisible drones flying around, these invisible clients that you can't see yet, who are prepared to land when they're ready to land and talk to you. That's the hardest part in my mind.
Yeah. And also what you've just said about prepared to land when they're ready to land as well. This whole business of trying to force people into a sale, that it's such a relief to take on board, work with their timeline, so that when they're ready, they're going to get in touch with you. So you're not constantly having to think, who do I need to contact now? And who should I be? And should I be going into these groups and breadcrumbing and all of this kind of stuff, that they will get in touch with you when they're ready, and they do. And that's always a surprise, isn't it? When suddenly you get an email in your inbox and you go, okay,
yep,
all right, yeah.
Yeah, and even when you're constantly emailing, or when you do the offer or the invite, and all of a sudden you're getting something from somebody that you really haven't had a lot of discussions with. They're on your email list or something, but then like, oh wow, okay. And that happened to me yesterday, actually, because someone responded to the next cohort that's coming up now in March, and they came into my world in December of 2022. So already that is 3 months in, I guess. And they're just saying like, hey, I'm interested in this thing. And then even that conversation through what we do with the navigator and all that was like, you know what, this is probably not ready for you yet. And again, that goes back to what you're talking about, is like, yes, I got this person I can convert. It's like, no, let me make sure that this is absolutely going to work for you. And I just felt it wasn't, and just said, maybe just hold off a little bit here and just hang around and get used to what you're doing, or try something that you want to do. And if that doesn't work and you want to continue the conversation later, I'm always here for you. I think that's really important. Let's talk about the other thing, which is everyone knows that every program has its cons or its downsides or whatever you want to call it. Nothing is a bed of roses. And I want to talk to this. So can you speak to some of the struggles or the things that the ups and downs? You spoke to it a little bit already, but like any ups and downs throughout Atlas, and how did you mentally prepare or deal with going through that stuff?
Yeah. So I have to say, for me, because I'd come into Atlas with the mindset of, I don't know what I don't know, so I'm just going to sit and let it wash over me. And I had the benefit of knowing that I could come back again for free another time. I didn't really get very I didn't get very concerned about any bits of it that I found too in depth, and I just let it wash over me a bit.
Very cool.
So I didn't really find it very difficult at all. I just did what I could do, knowing that I could do more later. It's very, very detailed. There is a lot of content, and it can feel overwhelming because of that, because there's so much to take on board. And then if you haven't quite taken it on board, the next week there's more to take on board, so it is a lot of content. And I am finding that now I'm sort of 2/3 of the way through the second time of Atlas. I'm feeling much more comfortable with it, but I'm still filling in different documents, superpowers, for instance. Oh, I love superpowers. And I even have taken it into my own cohort, which I use with a hypnotherapy exercise that has them put on their superpower suit once they have, decided what their superpowers are, and then they go out and perform in their superpower suit, and that's just something that's, I think, is so important for everyone, because there is such a degree of low self-esteem, isn't there, when you're building these coaches, like particularly the people who haven't done much coaching before, right, and suddenly they have to coach. To do the superpower matrix then gives them like, oh yeah, okay, so I know what is good about me now, instead of doing what we all so often do and focus on what I can't do. So yeah, that was really good. But that's just like one little element of it. It's vast. And I have to tell you, Joey, I don't know how many times I'm going to have to go through it before I'm going to get it all.
You're so welcome to come back as many times. I don't want to lose you. That's one of the downsides of Atlas. Like, as you become even more successful with more cohorts, you can't come to them anymore because you're doing your own cohorts, and we kind of lose touch that way in those environments. But it doesn't mean we just lose touch forever. But that's kind of the bittersweetness of getting someone to the level of their success. But and thank you for that. There's so many things there that I want to unpack, because you hit on one thing that I realized recently is the two types of people that join Atlas. And you're in this first category, I believe. You're in the learning category, because you just said, I don't know much about business. I know my coaching, whatever, but I don't know much about this world. And then there is the unlearners. Those are more of make up more of the student body of Atlas. Like they've done things online, or they've tried something, it crashed, it burned, it didn't work. And they're coming in, they're still learning, but they're unlearning more than they're learning at the first round of it, because they're more than likely, whether they admit it or not, and I know who you are, and it's all good, but they're always looking for something that's missing, which is cool. They will find something that's missing, but they might go through it and just look for one thing and ignore the other parts of it, right? And then by the end of it, they are like, oh my God, now I realize what's going on and what's happening. I need to go through it again. And that's when the breakthrough happens. And then it's the same thing for you, which is what you just said. You're coming in and it feels like a lot, which it is. I can totally understand the overwhelm to someone who is new to it, and you're not getting it. But at the end of Atlas, at least I don't want to put words in your mouth, but most of the people that I have experienced go through it, at least feel as though there was some momentum at the end of it. They didn't maybe make a whole bunch of money or get their money back or whatever, but they got a little bit of momentum, and they're like, you know what? I'm ready for this now. Let me go back in. And then second round, like you just said, you're starting to make things click. Is that a true statement at all? Or am I totally off my rocker here?
Yeah, no, it's absolutely right, and I have to say, I'm quite happy I'm in the first section of learners. Having in my other work, having spent a lot of time working with people who've come with a technique that needs to be changed, and having to unlearn something must be that much more difficult. Well, it's double the work, isn't it? Really, they've got all of that to do, but it's certainly it's about, yeah, there's the energy shift, isn't there? People feel good when they come into the cohort, when they know that they can do good in the world without having to now, I don't want to say trick people, but do you know what I mean? The marketing stuff that is just about getting a sale rather than about let me help you. When people know that they can come from a let me help you, and I can help you because I know all about me too. And I think that's what Atlas does as well. So when we're working on not just the superpower matrix, but also figuring out what your dream day looks like, what your dream week looks like, what is negotiable, what is non-negotiable in your life, and starting with you, then building that up from that very basic level means that you're much more equipped to deal with clients, I think.
Yeah, and thank you for bringing that up, because that's what I mean, and you're absolutely right about someone who has to unlearn things. Is not, I guess you're right about it being a little bit more difficult because it's like it's very simplistic. Would you agree that the methodology or the marketing process is pretty simple to do once you kind of grasp the mindset shifts that are happening, like the chain of beliefs, the superpower matrix, the dream client DNA, all these things.
Mm-hmm.
Those are a lot about mindset. Those are a lot about inner work, where a lot of us don't want to do the inner work, but that's what Atlas is.
Mm-hmm.
And if you don't understand and do the inner work, the outer work is going to be really, really difficult. And you end up jumping into manipulative stuff or persuasion techniques and all these things that just feel icky. And even though they do work sometimes, I don't know. It just, for me, I didn't want to have a cheat sheet over here on my monitor of how to handle objections, and the result of, or the objective of the call was like, let me convert this person today. Like, how am I going to get them to take out their credit card? And that wasn't what I wanted. It was more of just get rid of all of that stuff. Let me have a human conversation with somebody. And yeah, you asked them a couple of questions, but you already know the person you're looking for, which comes from the DNA, right? It comes right there because you can feel the energy. You can, and even though, like, and you said that person who answered the right questions all the way through, sometimes it sounds like they're right, and then they jump in and their true colors show, and you're like, okay, I made a mistake here, and we already talked about that. But more than like most of the time, you're able to judge the person based on your DNA of what you're looking for to fit your business and your life. I think you hit it 100%. And I want to make that very, very clear about what this is about. So with all of this said, what advice would you say to someone right now who's watching us and considering joining Atlas?
Okay, so firstly, I would say if you want to join this program to get rich quick, it's not for you. Basically, it's not for you. This is not what it's about. But if you want to really, really find out how you can help, how you can make change, how you can transform your clients by knowing how you align your values with yourself, by learning how to be in your own zone of genius and then going out there and sharing that with the world, that's for you. That's Atlas.
Amazing. Julie, like, you are like an amazing person. I'm so honored that I made a friend. I'm so honored that you invested in Atlas and trusted me in my process. Thank you for this amazing time. I know that you're already impacting the world. You're going to make some major change and impact, which is something that I love, that I can be a small part of that journey. So that's my little bonus piece of, just standing on my own little, yay for me, whatever. Is there anything that I didn't ask you that I should have asked you?
No, I think we've said enough.
Okay. Fair enough. Fair enough. You're amazing. I love you. I love you so much. And we will see you in the next cohort very soon and hanging around our universe, correct?
Yes, absolutely. I'm hanging around. Yeah, I'm not going anywhere.
Okay. Take care. Have an amazing day, Julie.
Lovely.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Bye.
Okay.